Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank the ranking member, and thank you both for being here. It's good to see both of you again. Since we've been talking about the industrial base, we know that the rates of fire ammunition expenditures we're seeing are quite high. As you know, West Virginia is the home to Allegheny Ballistics Laboratory, where we're making, by the end of '26, we should be able to deliver 10,000 Gimler rocket motors. This site currently has, this is a different question than what Senator Bozeman said, because this is a private entity that has manufactured there for years. Is the Army utilizing, maximizing using existing munitions capacity nationwide, such as what's at ABL, before investing in new sites to try to get the munition production to where it needs to be? So, General, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think I would say both, Senator. I mean, I think what we're trying to do, and this is one of the things that we talk a lot about that we want to improve, is our magazine depth, and I think it's going to take a little bit of both. We're obviously looking on, what we would do inside the industrial base, how we would help very specific things that could that go into producing these missiles. So that is a big focus of ours where we want to spend money on. I will tell you that as far as I'm aware of, we are going to capacity, so we are funding to capacity where we can do these kinds of things that you're talking about, like Gimlers and these other things that we know that we need, and we would certainly welcome more capacity on that.
Right. Mr. Secretary, do you have a comment on that?
I would just echo everything he's saying. I think we as a nation need to focus on this. We need to do it organically and inorganically with outside partners, and we should be investing in both because redundancy in this space matters. Contested logistics, we haven't faced them as a nation at scale, especially in our own home in CONUS, in a very long time. And there are benefits to having us manage that as a nation through government-owned manufacturing facilities, but those will almost always definitionally be slowed down by bureaucracy, be more expensive, and they are helpful, but they should be balanced out by private partners who can just innovate a lot faster.
Can I give you just a quick example?
Yes, please.
Senator, 155, which I think there was just something out, we're up to $1 million a month. That is a combination, or $1 million rounds a year. That's a combination of what we're doing in our organic industrial base, what we're doing with private industry to help. So I think that, again, to do that, we're going to have to get both of those moving.
Yeah, well, I would suggest what the Secretary is saying in terms of speed and deliverables, private sector, by saying it's slower on the government-owned side, there's still capacity in the private sector. I would just encourage you to keep looking at that. I'm going to change it up a little bit because Secretary Driscoll, when we met, we were on our way to Asheville with the incoming vice president to see the response to the flood. We just had a flood in West Virginia that just this morning, 8 lives now have been lost in that flood. The Army National Guard is absolutely critical in the response to these kinds of disasters that we all have in our states. In your budget, you have cut the Army National Guard below 2025 levels. And I would be interested to know, how does the Department of the Army anticipate that the National Guard will meet the challenges of concurrent homeland defense missions, large-scale combat operations, and then other things that the Guard's asked to do? I think the answer that you have, maybe previous answer, is that with 90 days notice, they would be able to prepare for mobilization. And that's why they're getting less money. But how do you respond to that question, General George?
Yeah, I'll just, one of the things we've talked about in part of Army transformation is to make sure that the National Guard is transforming with us. This isn't like hey, we're doing this on the active side. I think it's both. As far as I'm aware, the Guard is actually is continuing to grow. They have had a great recruiting year, and I know it depends on region to region on what we're doing. But actually, their end strength is going up. So we are looking at making changes, for example, to make sure that they have mobile brigade combat teams, so they get the same equipment that we get, that they get drones. You mentioned Asheville. That was infantry squad vehicles that were down there with drones that were helping people with the right C2 systems, and I think we need to do that. It's going to make them much more responsive around the globe, and it's also going to make them much more responsive in West Virginia, which is why we want to and do this quickly.
Good.
And Senator, I
Yes.
would just echo, General George and I, in every meeting we have had, said we want to treat the Guard exactly how we treat the active duty component. They are an incredible asset for the American people. They dual hat or triple hat in some instances. Not only can they help with state issues or deploy when we as a nation need them,
Right.
they also come with this incredible set of talent and experiences because they oftentimes have day jobs. And so if you thought of where warfare is going, a diversity of experience, computer programming, all of these different things, you may have an infantry soldier who is also good at that, and that is unlocking a ton of value for the Army as a whole.
Well, good. I mean, I can't say, I mean, in visiting, I'm sure all of us, the theaters in Afghanistan and Iraq when they were going on, we all met our own Guard units there, deploying multiple times throughout those engagements. I did want to ask a question for the record on the Pathfinder program, where at the level of the force, they're able to develop and try out different different munitions, different ways about going things. So you got a bottom-up kind of structure where your actually warfighter is the one who's helping you make the decision about what. Do you have a quick comment on the Pathfinder?
Yeah, we love that kind of bottom-up information,
Yeah.
Senator. And I've interacted with these, with these teams that are out there. That's the whole idea of transforming in contact. That's what's helped us actually shape how we're transforming the Army. We started this, we're learning the lessons, we're making adjustments, and we're getting those are the kinds of things that we need to be investing in, I think, as we move forward.
Well, I'm hoping when we get the report in the next 10 days or so that we see that budgetarily it's directed in that direction as well. Thank you. Thank you both.